NXT, another episode of WWE 2K17 Universe Mode. My name is Kaiser Wrestling, and we are coming to you with the first match of the quarterfinals of the NXT Championship Tournament. And by the looks of it, we're going to be starting NXT out absolutely glorious, as our first match will be Bobby Roode taking on Magnus. So both of these superstars had a lot of momentum in this tournament. Bobby Roode was able to plow through the first round, as well as Magnus. Both superstars very impressive. And honestly, Bobby Roode has been my pick to probably win the whole entire tournament, just because he is so crafty, he is so talented, and there is nothing that Bobby Roode just can't do. And he has proved it time and time again that he is more than worthy of being the NXT champion. So Bobby Roode has an opportunity today to advance in this tournament by defeating Magnus, going to the semifinals, and possibly winning the whole thing. Bobby Roode looks prepared, and he looks ready for combat, as we're going to wait on the arrival of Magnus. Magnus is our newly signed NXT superstar who was able to get the victory in last episode's NXT to move to the second round of this tournament. And Magnus has been very impressive. Magnus just signing a contract with NXT about a week ago, and he's already in a possible position to be going for the NXT Championship. So Brutus Magnus, or we should just call him Magnus, is looking very good in this tournament. But he has a huge opponent standing in front of him right now. A really big obstacle in the glorious Bobby Roode. Could Magnus be able to beat Roode? Roode's been in NXT for a little while right now. He's a little bit of a veteran. I mean, he hasn't been here for a year yet, but he's definitely been here long enough to know how the stage in NXT goes. So the question is, could Magnus deal with the pressure that is on his back? And so much to look forward to in this tournament. I'm absolutely ecstatic to be calling the action, because we have 4 featured matches for you guys today. You guys are going to be on the loop of everything that goes on, all things NXT. And I promise you, as the weeks go on, we will get into some of the other rivalries that we have on our show, for the tag team championships, for the women championships, for some grudge matches. It's going to be a regular show just like Raw, SmackDown, 205. It's just that this NXT Championship Tournament just takes up so much space. It takes up so much potential that we just have to see it. I mean, we're pretty much seeing the best of every single superstar here on the NXT roster, because all of these superstars want a chance at the Samoan Submission Machine. So we heard a couple of announcements regarding the NXT Champion and NXT in general on the last episode of 205 Live on Universe Mode. As going to this match, Bobby Roode is clubbing Magnus in the face. Nothing pretty about Bobby Roode's offense. But we heard a couple of things regarding NXT and the NXT Champion. In 2 weeks, Samoa Joe will be taking a trip down to the Purple Brand to be facing 205 Live's TJ Perkins in the main event. And if you guys are a fan of TJ Perkins, if you guys are a fan of Samoa Joe, I will definitely tune into that match, because the roof's gonna get blown off of 205 Live that day. They're taking our NXT champion over to their brand to show us exactly what he is made of. So Samoa Joe versus TJ Perkins, 2 weeks in the main event. This is gonna be absolutely phenomenal on 205 Live. As well as we have the NXT champion himself gonna give us a speech in the pre-show of NXT next week to talk about the NXT Championship Tournament. I guess Samoa Joe has a couple of messages towards whoever wins these matches today, to, I guess, tell them don't get too comfortable, because the winner of this tournament will have to face me at NXT Takeover. So it won't be easy to become the NXT champion even after going through all of this tournament. But there goes Magnus with a triangle choke onto Bobby Roode. The Glorious One is having a little bit of trouble keeping the English-born superstar down. Magnus is the new blood here in NXT, and he will love nothing more than to prove himself against Bobby Roode. But that's a lot easier said than done, as Bobby Roode just throws him to the ground with a suplex, stalling suplex by Roode, followed by a stomp to the head. These two superstars in particular have really taken this tournament seriously. And I mean, if you saw Magnus's last match in the first round, he was not playing around at all. Magnus did everything he could to defeat that opponent. I can't remember who it is right now, but he did everything he could to win that first round match, and Magnus was able to go to the second round and face off against Bobby Roode. Bobby Roode, of course, in the first round defeating Johnny Gargano, and Johnny Gargano looked pretty good against Roode. I mean, he did. For a tag team wrestler, Bobby Roode was able to, oh, hold that thought, Bobby Roode with that spine buster onto Magnus. This right now is not looking too good for Magnus, as Roode with the attempted impaler DDT and gets all of it. Magnus in a world of trouble. This right here may be it. He may send Magnus packing back home, and Magnus kicks out at 2. Bobby Roode just hit Magnus with his best move, and it was not able to keep Magnus down. So going back to the Bobby Roode Johnny Gargano match, Johnny Gargano did pretty good for a tag team wrestler. He's normally known for his tag team matches with Tommaso Ciampa, which they will be getting an opportunity against the Revival at NXT Takeover for the championships, because they've been looking pretty good on the house shows. Johnny Gargano did alright, but at the end of the day, Bobby Roode just schooled the younger Johnny Gargano by planting him headfirst into the ring with that impaler DDT. So Johnny Gargano with one hell of a chance, but not able to get the job done, is now Magnus with the cover on Roode. And I know if Johnny Gargano was watching this match right now, he would love nothing more than for Bobby Roode to get absolutely manhandled by Magnus. And honestly, there's not a lot of people that I would think on the roster to go toe-to-toe with Bobby Roode, but Magnus is that kind of guy that he's able to put on a match with anybody on the roster. He could definitely hang with the best of them, and he's proved that in his first match in the first round of the tournament. And now Magnus with a clubbing clothesline to the corner drops the glorious superstar down. Bobby Roode in a world of trouble right now as Magnus has him in his mercy. DDT to the floor. And now Magnus kind of trying to get the crowd pumped up right here, but I think it's a little bit too early. Bobby Roode is coming to his feet right now, and now Magnus. Oh, what a neck breaker right there. Actually, that went to the top of the back of Roode, and now Michinoku driver there by Brutus Magnus, and Magnus with the cover on Bobby Roode, and Roode able to kick out at 2.5. I thought that was it right there. Now Magnus measuring Roode. What is he gonna go for here? Is now that shot to the face, picks him up, back suplex, STO driver to the mat. Bobby Roode, thank you for coming. Magnus is going to the second round, and no! Bobby Roode kicking out at 2.5. He just took Magnus's best shot, and Magnus cannot believe it. Magnus almost going to the semifinals of the NXT Championship tournament, but Bobby Roode saying not today, is now attempted T-bone suplex there by Roode, and now Magnus picks him up with the gut wrench, followed by the neck breaker there, dropping Bobby Roode down. This is going to be some bad news for Bobby Roode, followed by the knee across the head, and now Roode is busted open. How many superstars could you say busted open Bobby Roode? Bobby Roode is in a world of trouble right now. Magnus may get this victory. I'm very impressed with Magnus thus far. For the short time he's been here in NXT, he is really putting on a show against Bobby Roode. But you can't be too surprised. Magnus is an international superstar all around the world. He's a former TNA World Heavyweight Champion. This man definitely knows what it is to win big matches. Nice elbow to the heart of Bobby Roode. Roode is in trouble. He does not know what he has to do. Roode able to create some distance right now. And Roode trying to take a breather. He knows that he took a lot of punishment from Magnus thus far. And a spine buster by Bobby Roode. This may spell the end, but Magnus able to create the separation as well. Normally Roode follows it up with that impaler DDT as we saw before, and now Magnus has him up. And what a brain buster by Magnus. That was an ugly landing for Roode on his neck. And now Magnus going for the cover, the blood splurring down the face of Roode, and Roode able to kick out. This match has gotten absolutely brutal between Magnus and Roode, and this is only the quarterfinals of the championship match. And now Magnus measuring Roode, and I think we know what's going to come next. The back suplex, XTO driver by Magnus. All Magnus needs to do is get the cover, and he will be going to the semifinals. Will Magnus pull the upset against Roode tonight on NXT? and he defeats the glorious superstar Bobby Roode. Magnus is going to the semifinals of the NXT Championship Tournament. Like him or not, Magnus has definitely opened a lot of eyes on the NXT roster. He was able to put Bobby Roode away in pretty convincing fashion tonight in the opening match of the quarterfinals. Very impressive show of repertoire by Brutus Magnus. I don't even think Bobby Roode knows where he is right now. He took so many hard shots to the head. He landed on his neck so many times in that match. That STO driver just dropping Roode right on his back. And this right here is what really busted open Roode. That brain buster right there. You showed the blood just pouring down the head of Roode. This match got brutal real quick. This Bobby Roode could just not put Magnus away. What a showcase of talent by Magnus. As Magnus may win it all. Samoa Joe, you better be really careful, because this man Magnus may be coming for your championship. The action of this tournament is so red hot here on NXT, and I'm so excited to be pursuing into this championship tournament. We would just witness one hell of a quarterfinals match between Bobby Roode and Magnus. Magnus moving on to the semifinals, and here we go, continuing with Andrade Cien Almas. Andrade Cien Almas able to move to the second round of the tournament by defeating Ricochet, and in one hell of a contest. These two guys really tore it apart, and Andrade definitely earned his shot in this quarterfinals. But he's gonna have one hell of a challenge. Andrade Cien Almas has to go one-on-one with Elias Samson. And Elias Samson pretty much has had a whole new reincarnation of who he has been, and that's kind of what escalated Samson in this tournament. So can Andrade Cien Almas defeat Elias Samson here tonight? Well, the winner of this match will of course be going to the semifinals to face Magnus, and I know Magnus will be a hard challenge for either one of these superstars. So Andrade Cien Almas looks ready to go. A huge influx of talent here on the NXT roster, and we have seen it. And here comes Elias Samson. Elias Samson pretty much had a whole new look on who he was, as now he actually cares about what the WWE Universe thinks, and he feels that with their support, he could possibly win this championship tournament and maybe win the title from Samoa Joe at Takeover. So we have so many superstars on the NXT roster who are worthy of a title shot, but only the winner of this tournament will be the one who's lucky enough to face Samoa Joe. So I know Samoa Joe is in the back just looking at all of these NXT superstars getting their opportunity. Samoa Joe has been in action for the last couple of weeks. If you guys haven't really known, I mean, it's like I said, I haven't really been posting or talking about the other matches here on NXT because this tournament has just been so big, and I feel like our focus should just be on this tournament. Just the amazing action that we've seen, especially in the last match between Magnus and Roode. That was absolutely incredible. But just to give you guys a little bit of what's going on the rest of the NXT card, we do have a rivalry between the Revival and DIY, and they will face off at NXT TakeOver for the NXT Tag Team titles, so you will be seeing that. And we also have Mickie James. She's going to be trying to pursue a championship shot against Asuka, but they've been dealing with a little bit of interference from Billie Kay, so you could probably expect a triple threat match, sort of championship match between Asuka, Billie Kay, and Mickie James. That'll also be pretty good on the NXT card. As we also have Shinsuke Nakamura in this tournament. We also have Bobby Lashley in this tournament. So much more NXT action coming your way. And then of course we have the addition of the 205 live matches on the NXT TakeOver card, as we have TJ Perkins taking on Brian Kendrick in a very personal championship encounter, as we also have Lince Dorado and Tony Nese in a last man standing match. the winner of that match. I don't really know what's gonna happen with them. I mean, the general manager of 205 is definitely looking at all of the cruiserweights and seeing who may be next in line for a title shot. You have to believe that the winner of that match may be in line for a cruiserweight title shot for the next Takeover, which will be a month away from the Takeover that's gonna happen right now. So we have a lot of action as far as 205 Live and NXT coming your way. Definitely don't miss out on these two shows. SmackDown and Raw are major shows, a lot of things going on there, but definitely on our minor shows we also have some great action. So don't sleep on NXT and don't sleep on 205 Live. All these shows given to you by Kaiser Wrestling is absolutely incredible. So going back to this match, we have Andrade Cien Almas in control of Elias Samson right now. It's pretty much all of a matter of who wants it more. Who's gonna want this victory enough to move on to the semifinals? And I mean, if you're Andrade or if you're Elias Samson, you have to think, even if I win this match, I have to go one-on-one with Magnus. And in the beginning of this tournament, Magnus didn't really seem like much of a threat, but after defeating Bobby Roode and the way that he did, you have to be a little bit scared to get in the ring with Magnus, because Magnus has shown everybody that he'll stop at absolutely nothing to make his point across. So now it is Samson with the knee to the lumbar region of Andrade Cien Almas, trying to ground the high-flying superstar. And Andrade Cien Almas has made it clear that he does not care at all about what the fans think. He is all about Andrade. He is all about the title. And Andrade with a top rope senton. That was beautiful. Right off the springboard. Andrade Cien Almas definitely is a big name over in his home country of Mexico. He has been wrestling for pretty much a decade. Andrade Cien Almas has been through it all. So Elias Samson cannot sleep on Andrade. Nice kick to the back. Elias Samson just has that Street Fighter sort of background to him. That nice DDT there, just planting Andrade right on his head. Samson may be going for something big here. Almas needs to be careful. Now Andrade in a world of trouble is now, look at that, the athleticism of Andrade able to land on his feet, and Samson not having any of that, just ground pounding Andrade to the floor. And this right here is the absolute brutality of Samson. Samson with the cover on Andrade. It's ironic how it's Samson who's the one that's pretty much showed more compassion to the crowd than Andrade, because Andrade just has such a bubbly personality, but Andrade just cares about himself, and that's kind of what makes the fans turn against Almas a little bit, because he's a little bit selfish. Well, very selfish, if I might add. And now Andrade just scouting Elias Samson, may go through the, oh wow, sliding right under the rope and delivering that basement drop kick. We saw that last week against Ricochet, or we saw that 4 weeks ago against Ricochet. Apologies. So much action going on NXT, and now Samson able to put his foot under the rope. And now here comes Andrade just stomping on the back of the neck. Oh, Andrade may be able to escalate himself in a match against Magnus if he's able to get the victory on Elias Samson right now. And look at that, Samson catching Andrade, power bomb. Andrade Cien Almas was not expecting that kind of power from Samson, and neither was anybody else. Just catching Andrade in midair and dropping him to the floor. Now here comes Samson with some shoulder tackles, and now followed by a side suplex. Here comes Elias Samson looking very good in this match. Will he be able to put Andrade Cien Almas away? Samson now picking up Almas. What does he have planned? It's now, look at, oh, Samson with that DDT, dropping Andrade on his head again. We saw that earlier in this match, and now Almas able to kind of counter, get some separation, and he needs it, and Almas quick to the cover, as he knows his chances of moving to the semifinals are slowly fading away. Almas with a stomp to the back of Elias Samson. Andrade Cien Almas not giving up at all. He knows that he's been in a little bit of trouble, but he's going to continue to bring the offense. Nice standing moonsault to Elias Samson. He probably should have went for the cover there, but Andrade just decides to continue the offense. As now, look at, oh wow, a dropkick to the knee of Samson, but he's still up. Samson with a counter, elbows to the side of the head of Almas. Things are not looking so good for Andrade right now, as now Samson with a neck breaker, driving Andrade right on that knee. That was ugly. Drops the fist on the face. We were talking about the brutality of Bobby Roode's offense, but there's also nothing pretty about Samson. And there goes our second view of blood in this tournament as Andrade just gets busted open by Samson. And I thought that was a 3 count. The referee's hand went down for 3 and Almas was able to get the shoulder rub at the last minute. That elbow hurt Almas a lot. You could tell he has not moved since. Elias Samson has this match in the bag if he just could deliver another DDT onto Almas. This is not looking good for Andrade, as now Samson pulls Andrade to the center of the ring, goes for the cover. It's going to be Samson moving to the semifinals to face Magnus. What a display of power by Elias Samson. Very impressive. I was really not expecting Elias Samson to leave today with the victory. I mean, he's been impressive on NXT for the last couple of weeks, but Andrade Cien Almas has been on fire. I don't know what happened to Andrade today, but he was just not able to get the victory. Is this going to be Samson moving to the semifinals to face Magnus? Both superstars crowd favorites. Who's going to leave with the victory? That was Almas' attempt to create separation against Samson, but he was just not able to do it. Samson too dominant today. Andrade Cien Almas with a nasty cut on his forehead as well. That would not help your cause in any match. So we have two very potential threats in this tournament already. Moving up to the semifinals, we have Magnus and we have Elias Samson. Both superstars with a lot of momentum on their corner, and we're going to see how that escalates as the tournament goes on. Congratulations to Samson. Highly anticipated match coming your way right now as we have the greatest man that's ever lived, Austin Aries, going to be going one-on-one with Bobby Lashley. Incredible match coming your way, and I'm absolutely ecstatic to be telling you guys that these two are going to be facing off one-on-one. So much momentum on both of these men's sides. Austin Aries very impressive in the first round of this match, as well as Bobby Lashley. Bobby Lashley defeating Christian Rude in the first round, and he was able to escalate himself into the second round of this tournament. But he's gonna have one hell of a challenge right in front of him, as the greatest man that's ever lived, Austin Aries, has a plan on taking out Lashley. So what's going to happen when these two men face off? Well, Austin Aries pretty much said earlier on WWE.com that he has Bobby Lashley's number. Christian Rude was not able to put Lashley away, but the greatest man that's ever lived will stop Bobby Lashley's dominance here on NXT before it even begins. Well, it's hard to argue with Austin Aries with how impressive he has been. But this is Bobby Lashley. He is the boss, and look at him right now. Bobby Lashley making his way to the ring, and he is just one hell of a specimen. This guy is pretty much everybody's pick to win this tournament. And I know how I said before, my pick was Bobby Roode. He was not able to deliver, so shame on me. But Bobby Lashley is definitely a man that you could put all of your money on to win this whole entire thing, because he is just the perfect combination of speed and strength. This man knows how to take out every single opponent. He's a former United States champion. He's a former ECW champion, former UFC welterweight champion. This man has done it all. So Austin Aries is definitely gonna have a challenge here tonight. He has a lot on his plate dealing with Bobby Lashley. So this, of course, is another match in the tournament. The winner of this match will be moving on to the semifinals. We already have two very potential threats moving on to the semifinals in Elias Samson and Magnus. So just imagine if this tournament comes down to Magnus and Lashley. That's going to be one hell of a match to look forward to, as Bobby Lashley started this match already with suplexes galore to Austin Aries. I know Bobby Lashley saw those words on WWE.com from Austin Aries, and he did not take those lightly at all, as he just drives the greatest man that ever lived into the mat with a reverse suplex. as Austin Aries is getting tossed around the ring by Lashley. This is absolute dominance on the behalf of Bobby Lashley. And now Lashley with a gator roll to Austin Aries, not even letting him go one little bit, and following up with the crossface. Bobby Lashley kind of has the job of teaching Aries a lesson tonight, because Austin Aries has been very vocal about the new influx of talent coming into the NXT roster, and he is absolutely appalled. But right now, Bobby Lashley is showing Austin Aries why it's a good idea to keep his mouth shut, just tossing Aries all over the ring, and Aries now wrenching the arm of Lashley, but Bobby Lashley shutting down any of Austin Aries' future plans. So my question is can Aries pull this victory off on Lashley? This is going to be a tough challenge for Austin Aries, because Bobby Lashley definitely has the size advantage. He definitely has the strength advantage. And to be honest with you, he also has the skill advantage. Bobby Lashley has been in almost every single company you could imagine when it comes to MMA or when it comes to wrestling. And now Austin Aries with a kick to the chest. If Aries is able to defeat Lashley today, that would definitely be an advantage on Austin Aries' part, because he would be able to be the man that says he beat Bobby Lashley in the middle of the ring. But Lashley just tossing Aries all over. Things are not looking so good for Aries. Is now a reverse DDT there by Aries as he's trying to get himself back in this match. And a kick to the gut of Lashley. I don't care who you are, big man or not, that is gonna hurt. As now Aries just continues as Lashley swatting away that attempted kick, and a clothesline taking Aries' head off. That right there was absolutely disgusting. You saw the neck of Aries just bend back when he hit the mat, and now Lashley just with all of these devastating punches to the face. You have to love what you're seeing from Bobby Lashley so far as he picks Aries up, running power slam there onto Aries, but Aries able to spring up right back to his feet. As now Lashley again with the counters, elbows to the face of Aries. This is not looking so good for Aries, but Aries now gets caught again with another suplex. We saw Lashley take Christian Roode to Suplex City last week, but now Aries is getting a little bit of a taste of it as well. Aries in a world of trouble is now. Here comes Lashley with all these punches. I'm surprised we haven't seen Aries bust it open yet. Now Lashley getting the crowd involved. He knows he is in control. Aries is in a world of trouble. Is Lashley now stalking Aries? Spear connects with all of it. Aries is in a world of trouble. Will he be able to kick out of that spear by Lashley, or will he would have put Austin Aries away in dominant fashion? 1, 2, and Aries able to kick out at 2.5. Very impressive by the greatest man that's ever lived. I know that Lashley has been dominating this match, but Aries has been able to stay in it. It's Aries with a punch straight to the gut of Lashley. That right there is going to hurt Bobby Lashley's chances. Is now single arm suplex there by Aries. Aries is definitely not giving up. A kick right to the lower lumbar region of Lashley. Bobby Lashley now having a little bit of trouble breathing in there as Aries trying to make a comeback in this match. He knows that he's been dominated. He needs to come back if he wants any chance of winning. Aries now taking a breather into the corner. I don't know how smart of an idea that was, because Lashley now back to his feet as Aries grabs the head, and another single arm suplex there, and the leg of Lashley catching the second rope. How great has his action have been in this tournament is now Aries with these kicks just driving Lashley into the ropes, and there goes a clothesline dropping Lashley right over the top rope. What does Aries have planned now? As now he's running off the ropes. Tope! Oh wow! Going for the tope suicida. But Lashley having other plans for Aries as now grabs the leg. And he's going to pick up Aries, and now look at that. What a submission move by Lashley. That right there is an ugly move. Aries may have to tap out. Aries is in a world of trouble as Aries has no choice but to tap out. Lashley winning this match by submission. And what a display of dominance by Lashley. as he just put Aries away in very convincing fashion. Aries tried everything he could, but at the end of the day, Bobby Lashley was just too much for Aries to handle. Look at that spear cutting Aries in half. For a man of Aries' size, I'm surprised I didn't put him out of the match. But I think half of that had to do with the fact that the referee took forever to get to the cover. But there was no safe zone for Austin Aries when it came to this submission move, as the referee called it off. Right after that, you could see the back of Aries just about to snap as Bobby Lashley plummets his way into the semifinals. He'll be facing either Shinsuke Nakamura or Brian Cage. Who's going to win that match? We will find out when NXT returns for the main event. Welcome guys back to NXT, and it has finally come down to this, our main event, the last match of the quarterfinals of the NXT Championship Tournament, as we have the King of Strong Style, Shinsuke Nakamura, going one-on-one with the Mohawked Maniac, Brian Cage. As we had a lot of surprising victories already in this championship tournament, as we had Magnus, Elias Sampson, and recently Bobby Lashley, all moving on to the semifinals. So who's going to take that final spot? Is it going to be the King of Strong Style, or will it be Brian Cage? Shinsuke Nakamura was able to make it through the first round of this tournament, and he's been looking pretty damn impressive, if I might say so myself. But he has a larger, more tougher opponent that he's going to be facing right here tonight. So can Nakamura take it? Well, a lot of action that we've seen through this episode of NXT, this exclusively 4 featured match episode of NXT, and here comes Brian Cage. Look at how mean and look at how big he looks, just blowing through his opponent in the first round just to make it here. Brian Cage in dominating style, making it to the second round of this tournament, and this right here is going to spell some bad luck for Shinsuke Nakamura. We've seen the big man Bobby Lashley go through the smaller man Austin Aries, but can Nakamura make a difference? Will he be able to knock off Brian Cage? Well, all Nakamura has to do is one Kinshasa kick, and I feel like that'll be it. That'll be the end of Brian Cage. So we're gonna have this match commence right now. The last match in the quarterfinals. The action has been absolutely phenomenal, in my opinion. It has been a great tournament. Who is gonna be the last person to take the 4th spot into the semifinals? So basically how next week is going to work with NXT, we're going to have our 2 semifinal matches. The second one will be the main event, and we also have a message from the NXT Champion Samoa Joe in the beginning of the show towards all the semifinalists in this tournament. So Shinsuke Nakamura starting out, nice back suplex there by the King of Strong Style, showing that the massive body of Brian Cage will not play too much of a factor in this match, just tossing him around. But just like that, Brian Cage just takes control with a knee right to the face. So we had a lot of participants join this tournament, but not a lot of people have been as tough as Brian Cage. Just that smash mouth Street Fighter style, just tossing you all over the ring. It's pretty intimidating to any superstar that goes against Brian Cage. So now Shinsuke Nakamura gonna try to respond with a suplex, and Brian Cage's strength is too much for Nakamura right now. So I've honestly been liking the upgrade of our universe mode, just going into the HDs, going into the storylines, what happened on Raw, what happened on 205 Live, and what's going on right now on NXT. As we said before, NXT Takeover will be 2 weeks away from the calendar Sunday, where we're going to have Samoa Joe face the winner of this tournament for the NXT Championship, as well as we have the Cruiserweight title on the line, TJ Perkins, Brian Kendrick, the NXT Tag Team titles on the line with the Revival and DIY, and so much more action coming your way in NXT Takeover. And the Sunday following, we have our second exclusive Universe Mode WWE pay-per-view, which will be Payback, where Seth Rollins and Kevin Owens will be fighting for the WWE Universal Championship. And we're also going to have Roman Reigns versus Dean Ambrose in a #1 contenders match. The winner will go off to Money in the Bank to face either Seth Rollins or Kevin Owens for that Universal title. Universe Mode is looking absolutely great right now as Nakamura with a back suplex to Brian Cage, taking him down. If it was any other superstar, I would say Brian Cage would easily blow through this quarterfinals match, but this is Shinsuke Nakamura we're talking about. Shinsuke Nakamura never says die. He always continues to fight no matter how bad he's getting beat up in this match. So now Nakamura with a kick to the back of the head. As we said, a lot of surprising victories in the opening contest of the quarterfinals. It was Magnus versus Bobby Roode, and Magnus was able to pick up the upset victory in my opinion because he just signed an NXT contract last week. He's fairly new to the brand and he's already in the semifinals. So wow, that was a senton off the springboard by Brian Cage. I have to take a moment to express that. That was absolutely incredible. Nearly 300 pounds and Brian Cage coming off the springboard with that senton, and now Nakamura responding with a kick to the face. So now Shinsuke Nakamura has Brian Cage on the ground, and honestly, this is what Nakamura has to do to win this match. He has to prevent Brian Cage from getting to his feet and delivering those devastating grappling moves, and here goes Nakamura. Face first goes Brian Cage. Nakamura celebrating as long as the universe. Will Nakamura be going to the semifinals, but Brian Cage tossing Nakamura right down. And just like that, Brian Cage takes control of this match yet again. There goes the cover on Nakamura and a kick out at 1.5 by the King of Strong Style. Very competitive match thus far. Back and forth encounter between Nakamura and Cage. And now there goes an elbow to the gut of Brian Cage. Going to take all of that wind right out. And Nakamura attempting that Kinshasa kick. But Brian Cage tossing him down with a takedown. And what's Brian Cage doing right now? And there goes that big splash right onto Nakamura. All 300 pounds falling onto the King of Strong Style. This is going to be some bad news for Nakamura if he doesn't get off the ground. And we've been talking about the condition of all these superstars, that this tournament has really brought the best out of everybody, and there have been some devastating matches. Who knows if the #1 contender, whoever wins this tournament, will be in good enough condition to face Samoa Joe at NXT Takeover. He is the Samoan submission machine, and he will also be taking a trip to 205 Live in 2 weeks to face TJ Perkins in the main event. So much to come to you guys in our universe mode. And now Brian Cage with a knee to the forehead of Nakamura. Brian Cage looking very good right now, having Nakamura isolated, not allowing him to use that strong style repertoire that he's known to use. Brian Cage is honestly really good at countering all of Nakamura's moves. He's had an answer for everything thus far. Kick across the chest. And now Nakamura responding with another punch to the gut. And I think Nakamura is seeing that Brian Cage's air may not be as good right now from all those gut shots. And right there, that landslide is not going to help Brian Cage as well, as there goes Nakamura with an attempted pin, but no avail. Both superstars looking incredibly strong in this match. Who's going to take the final spot in the semifinals? As now look at Brian Cage as a tilt-a-whirl face, oh, that was a gut buster on Nakamura. I thought he was gonna make him land on his face, and that right there, talking about air, that right there will knock the air straight out of you. Nakamura coming down on that knee of Brian Cage at full force. This is an incredible match. What a main event on NXT for this week. And as we know, SmackDown Live is gonna be our next main event, or our next event on Universe Mode. And we're going to see the fallout between the AJ Styles and John Cena match at Extreme Rules. Who's going to be the new WWE World Heavyweight Champion when SmackDown Live comes to you guys? There's now Brian Cage picking up Nakamura. What does he have planned here? And there goes a knee right to the gut. And that discus clothesline beheading Nakamura. That right there may spell the end for the King of Strong Style. Will Brian Cage be going to the semifinals? There goes the pinfall. Nakamura is knocked out in a kick out at 2. That right there just shows you the strength of Shinsuke Nakamura. He will not give up. There's now Brian Cage getting frustrated, just stomping in the corner. What is he going to have to do to put Nakamura away? And he could tell that the chances of moving to the semifinals, the chances of getting an NXT Championship shot is slowly moving away. As now Nakamura with a kick right to the cheek. And now, oh God, what does Brian Cage have planned here? Nakamura up in a power bomb, and I think he's gonna go for the trifecta right here. Oh no, he's going for the pinfall. Nakamura in trouble, and a kick out, but there goes the submission move. Nakamura in trouble. That looks like a modified Boston Crab, but Nakamura able to break out of that. The lower lumbar region of Nakamura is in some deep trouble. Brian Cage is absolutely satisfied with the destruction that he's caused so far. Nakamura's hand is under the rope, but the referee not seeing it. There goes a kick out by Nakamura. And Brian Cage just fuming right now. He cannot believe that Shinsuke is still in this match. And Nakamura with another counter to Brian Cage. What is Shinsuke going to have to do to take out Brian Cage? Is now he's loading up for something big here. And there goes a kick to the gut. Kinshasa takes out Brian Cage, and Nakamura just Kinshasa his way into the semifinals, and Nakamura takes the final spot. What a match and what a victory for the King of Strong Style here today on NXT. What a phenomenal match between the two counterparts in this tournament. He sends Brian Cage packing, as the quarterfinals will be the end of Brian Cage's road to the NXT Championship, but Nakamura will be moving ahead with Magnus, Elias Sampson, and Bobby Lashley. And that right there confirms the main event for next week's NXT. It's going to be the Destroyer Lashley taking on Shinsuke Nakamura. Who will win and who will move on to the finals the following week? I hope Samoa Joe is watching this, because all of these contestants in this tournament have been absolutely impressive. Even those who have not made it to the semifinals, congrats to you. Congrats to Rude. Congrats to Andrade Cien Almas. Brian Cage, very impressive as well. But we have our final four. So who's going to take it all? So much more to come on NXT as Shinsuke Nakamura closes out this NXT with a victory over Brian Cage and an entrance into the semifinals of the tournament. What will happen when Nakamura meets Lashley next week?